From maid to company queen, discover the incredible 5-year journey of a billionaire's heart. Jade's heart raced as she cleaned the luxurious suites of the downtown hotel where she worked. Scrubbing sinks and fluffing pillows, she often imagined what it would be like to live among the elite, glitz and glamour enveloping them like perfume. Yet, in those moments, with Lily's laughter echoing in her mind, she felt the strength of her purpose. Every day, she rose before sunrise, is pulled from a cozy dream world filled with her daughter's wishes, to wipe counters and serve $3 cups of coffee at the diner. Each shift was an act of love, a means to provide for a little girl with dreams like skyscrapers rising against the Chicago skyline. In the midst of one exhausting but fulfilling day, Jade found herself attending a community fair. The smell of warm funnel cakes wafted in the air while colorful banners billowed in the breeze. As laughter echoed through the crowd, for a moment, she felt like she belonged. That's where she spotted Liam, tall, handsome, and yet so different from everyone else in her world. He was standing off to the side, clearly out of place but intrigued. Their eyes met, and an invisible thread pulled them together. With each shared laugh and joy at the fair, Jade couldn't believe how quickly they connected. Liam's stories of cobalt blue oceans and sunsets over private islands seemed worlds away from her one-bedroom apartment. Yet, there, among the carnival tents, she felt alive and real. "Can I get your number?" he asked, grinning. Her heart fluttered. This wasn't just Tinder swiping, this was actual magic. She handed him her phone, and they exchanged numbers like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days passed, and their friendship blossomed quick. Together, they explored the neighborhoods, attended community events, and spent countless evenings sharing hopes and dreams. Jade felt seen and heard in ways she hadn't experienced in ages, but doubt crept in. Did someone like Liam, with the world at his feet, really want to know someone like her, the hard-working maid? The whispers of judgment began to seep in, especially when Liam's family learned of their bond, their derisive remarks like cold steel on her heart. One fateful night, after a foolish misunderstanding blew up between them, Jade felt shaken to her core. Was their connection real, or was it just a passing moment in the vastness of his wealthy world? She caught herself doubting everything, the love that sparked between glances, the kindness that sliced through the noise of their differences. In a moment of raw vulnerability, she met with a dear friend who listened, understanding the internal battle raging within her. "You've always been enough," her friend softly insisted, igniting a warmth she thought she had lost. Jade faced the crossroads of her life. Would she allow vulnerability and struggle to consume her, or would she rise against the views of a privileged society that threatened to pull them apart? Determined yet frightened, she stood ready to confront their challenges together. Love seemed worth the fight, but was it enough to overcome the bitter whisper of doubt? Jade stood by the window, staring out at the city skyline. The evening sun cast a golden hue, illuminating the bustling streets below. She hugged her arms close, feeling the weight of uncertainty wrap around her like a heavy blanket. Liam's smile haunted her mind, his laughter echoing in her heart as if they were inseparable. But the shadow of doubt loomed larger than ever. Was she simply an interlude in his story? The following day, she made her way to the diner, and every step felt heavier. Her routine felt mundane, the same coffee cups to fill, the same tired customers returning for their daily fix. Yet, she couldn't shake thoughts of Liam. His sincerity, the way he listened, made her feel special, a feeling she hadn't tasted in years. When her shift ended, a message pinged on her phone. It was from Liam. "Hey. How about dinner tomorrow? Just us." The word sent warmth flooding through her. What would a dinner with a billionaire feel like? The voice in her head clashed with her excitement. warning her about the judgment she might face. Did it really matter what others thought? The next night, Jade found herself in front of a chic downtown restaurant, the type that shimmered with wealth and prestige. She wore a simple dress, one that hugged her curves in a way that made her feel beautiful but exposed. As she pushed through the door, she took a deep breath, willing herself to be confident. Liam was already there, looking exceptional in his crisp white shirt, the sleeves rolled up just enough to show off his toned arms. The sight of him made her heart race, but that voice of self-doubt whispered warnings, threatening to dampen her excitement. Still, as he stood, eyes lighting up at her entrance, she felt a flicker of hope. "You look amazing," he said, sincerity dripping from his voice as he pulled out her chair. "I could say the same about you," Jade replied, managing a smile despite her nerves. As they chatted over artisanal pizzas, the tension evaporated, and laughter filled the space between them. Liam spoke of his ventures, the joys and pitfalls of running businesses, while Jade shared her experiences at the diner and the community around her. In those moments, everything felt right, but the illusion shattered when his phone buzzed, and he picked it up with a frown. Jade's stomach twisted as she caught a glimpse of the name flashing on the screen: his mother. She felt a chill. Would he really take a call from someone who might not accept her? "What's the matter?" Jade asked, her voice barely above a whisper, betraying her vulnerability. "Just family stuff, nothing important," he said, setting the phone down. But the moment passed, tension re-entering their bubble. As he spoke of future plans, Jade heard the underlying worry in his tone. "Jade, my family, they're not like us. They won't understand." A lump formed in her throat. "What are you saying, Liam? I just need you to be strong. They'll come around. Won't they?" His eyes searched hers, desperation swirling in them. For a heartbeat, she felt like she was back at the fair, wrapped in the magic of the moment. But that magic was crumbling, she couldn't bear the thought of fighting the world alone. "Do you really think I can withstand all that?" She managed to voice the fear she had pushed deep inside. Silence cloaked them, thick and heavy. What did they truly want? As Jade gazed into Liam's eyes, she realized nothing was as simple as it seemed. Could love conquer the expectations and barriers they both faced? Would they stand together against a world that felt so much larger than them? The question lingered, creating an uneasy air around them. Suddenly, the shimmering restaurant felt cold, the mood shifting like the city outside. Jade's heart raced, thoughts colliding like a storm. She had no idea what the next moment would bring, but that question hung, just as weighty as the love they were trying to navigate. "Liam, what are we really doing here?" she asked, the words slipping out like a whisper, hoping they would unravel the truth. Liam's eyes widened, the unspoken weight of her question crashing over them. The clatter of plates and distant laughter around them faded like a distant echo. For a moment, he was silent, his mouth opening and closing as if searching for the right words. Jade felt a flutter of panic. Had she pushed too far, too fast? I don't know," he finally admitted, his voice low, almost a confession. "I thought, maybe we could figure this out together." Together. The word hung in the air like a promise, yet it left her feeling more isolated than ever. Jade needed him to understand her world was not just the diner and its regulars but also the complexities of her life, stitched together with fraying threads of insecurity and fear. "Liam, my life isn't like yours. I don't come from money. I can't just walk into a fancy party and be accepted. What will your family say when they see me?" Each word hung heavily between them, an uninvited specter looming large. He leaned forward, urgency glimmering in his gaze. "They'll see the real you. I know they will. They might take time, but if you just give them a chance. Jade interrupted, feeling the heat rise in her cheeks. "They might not even want to give me a chance. I'm just a waitress, Liam. Your mother won't want to see her son with someone like me." His jaw clenched, frustration mingling with affection in those deep blue eyes. "You mean more to me than what you think. You're not just a waitress. You bring light into my life. His words wrapped around her heart, but doubt quickly crept in. But will they see that? Or will I always be the other girl? The girl he picked from the diner. Suddenly, the reality of their situation crashed down like a wave, swallowing her joy whole. She felt an overwhelming sense of inadequacy. How could she be enough for someone like him? I can't promise they will change overnight, Liam said softly. But I'll be there with you. I want to let you fight this battle alone. Jade's heart thudded in her chest, torn between hope and fear. She longed to believe him, to imagine a world where acceptance and love could flourish regardless of their backgrounds. But the shadow of his family's disapproval loomed like a storm cloud, dark and heavy. What if we're not enough? She whispered, tears prickling her eyes. What if you pick them over me? The sting of those words cut through the haze. Liam reached for her hand, cupping it gently between his own. I want to let that happen. You are my choice. But I need you to trust me. Trust us. Jade felt the warmth of his hands, grounding her, igniting a spark of resilience she thought she had lost. Yet, a question buzzed in her mind. Was love alone enough to bridge the chasm between their worlds? And if they fell, would they fall together, or would one end up carrying the other? Just give me time, Liam said, his voice steady now. One step at a time. As they locked eyes, a flicker of hope ignited. Maybe, just maybe, they could navigate this treacherous path together. But as she held on to that glimmer of possibility, doubt whispered a reminder of the uphill battle still ahead. What would happen when the trial of his family finally came? Would their love withstand the storm, or would it crumble beneath the weight of expectations? Liam, who are we really fighting for? She asked, her voice trembling. The question hung thick in the air, waiting for an answer neither of them was prepared to give. The moment lingered, heavy with unspoken fears. Jade could see the intensity behind Liam's gaze, but the question still swirled in her mind like a storm. As laughter erupted from a nearby table, it felt like a reminder of the world they were trying to step into, one that felt so far from their own. Look, he finally said, breaking the silence with determination. I know it's a lot for you. But remember how we started? My world doesn't define who we are. It's our choices that do. Jade nodded, though the doubt still crept in like a shadow. And what if your family doesn't accept those choices? I want to survive the rejection. The fear was palpable, tightening around her throat like a noose. She longed to escape the diner, the plates, and the pressure building inside her. All she wanted was to be free of this weight, a weight that grew heavier as she thought about their future. I'll talk to them, Liam declared, as if he could sense her spiraling. I'll make them see how incredible you are. Just like that? She scoffed. They won't change their minds overnight, Liam. The words hung in the air, a chilly reminder of the mountain left to climb. But the flicker of hope still lived in her heart. Her hand lingered in his warmth amidst uncertainty. She wanted to believe him. Maybe it would help if I met them first, Jade proposed tentatively, her voice barely a whisper. So I can see what I'm up against. Liam's face softened. You're stronger than you think. But if you want to meet them, then we'll make it happen. They fell silent for a moment, each lost in their thoughts. The old diner felt like a sanctuary now, even as the weight of what lay ahead threatened to shatter the fragile peace between them. So, when? Jade asked, the worry lacing her words betraying her brave front. How about next weekend? We'll go to that dinner at my parents' place, Liam suggested. Next weekend. It felt both terrifying and thrilling. She thought of the kitchen, the scent of pancakes wafting through the air, her smile while serving the same regulars. How could she trade that for a world of silverware and sophisticated conversation? Okay, she sighed, resignation washing over her like a wave. I'll be there, but I don't know how I'll handle it. Liam's thumb stroked the back of her hand, grounding her even as her heart raced. Just be yourself. You're more than enough for me. And remember, I'll be by your side. As they left the diner, the streets felt both familiar and foreign. The sun dipped low, casting an orange glow across the horizon. Jade couldn't help the mix of dread and anticipation fluttering in her chest. In the days leading up to the dinner, those feelings twisted together, prompting sleepless nights and reckless daydreams. She imagined every possible scenario: Liam's mother's cold stare, the awkward silence at the table, or worse, laughter at her expense. Could she truly hold her ground in that kind of world? Just keep your faith, she mumbled to herself, the mantra echoing in her mind when doubt crept in. But that Sunday would come with a different kind of tension, and she could almost feel the world shifting beneath her feet. The stakes would be higher than ever, and as she prepared for that fateful dinner, a question whispered in the back of her mind: would she really be the girl worthy of love in a glittering world, or was she destined to fade away into the background? As she stood in front of the mirror that evening, her heart torn between hope and fear, it struck her all of it would change in an instant. The clock ticked louder, and she realized this might be the moment to prove herself or to shatter like glass. In less than 24 hours, everything would be on the line. What awaited them on the other side of this dinner might just define their relationship forever. Would they leave together or apart? Jade stood before the mirror, taking in her reflection. The simple dress felt foreign against her skin, a world away from the casual comfort of her jeans and carefully chosen t-shirts. Today, she wanted to look the part, but every accessory felt like armor she didn't quite know how to wear. Her heart raced, matching the rhythm of the clock that ticked ominously in the background. She took a deep breath, straightening her shoulders. This was it. She'd been rehearsing for this moment since she agreed to join Liam at his family's dinner. A million scenarios played in her mind. She imagined a table full of refined faces, trimmed with judgment masked as polite smiles. What's the worst that could happen? She asked herself. The words tumbled out almost cruelly. All she could see were the barriers, an invisible wall built by expectations and preconceived notions of who belonged and who didn't. As she applied a light touch of lipstick, a familiar laughter rang out from the living room. Liam had come early to pick her up, leaving her with little time to wallow in self-doubt. His laughter felt like a lifeline. Ready to go? He called, his voice warm and welcoming. Jade forced a smile, but her stomach twisted. Almost there. She quickly tucked a few stray strands of hair behind her ear, took one last look at the girl in the mirror, and stepped away from her safe bubble. When she finally emerged, Liam looked at her, and for a moment, everything else faded away. You look amazing, he said, that earnest gleam dancing in his hazel eyes. Thanks, she replied, the compliment warming her chill. But she felt the words echo in her mind, a reassurance she desperately needed. They set off, navigating through the streets that blazed with the twilight glow. However, the closer they got to his family's house, the more queasy her stomach became. By the time they parked, it was like a roller coaster of emotions, the excitement mixed with fear threatening to pull her under. Just be yourself, Liam whispered as they walked toward the door. It's going to be fine. Yeah, easier said than done, she muttered, struggling to rein in her racing thoughts. They walked up to the elegant front door, and she hesitated just as Liam knocked. Every tick of the clock felt amplified now, each second crawling painfully in anticipation. When the door swung open, the scent of something savory enveloped them. A tall woman stood before them, her expression amiable but searching, like she was trying to pin down a familiar face. Liam. And you must be Jade, she said, her voice fluid and warm, yet carrying an edge of formality. Yes, Jade replied, trying to muster confidence that didn't quite reach her eyes. It's nice to meet you. Come in, come in. Dinner is almost ready, Liam's mother gestured with a sweeping motion. As they stepped inside, Jade caught her breath. The home was luxurious, but there was a warmth that felt inviting. It reminded her of those cozy evenings at home, yet everything here shimmered with a polish that made her feel out of place. Liam squeezed her hand gently, an unspoken promise weaving between them. But as they settled into the living room, surrounded by Liam's family. The laughter and chatter seemed to amplify Jade's insecurities. "Hope you like roast," Liam's father boomed, his jovial spirit filling the room. "It's a family recipe." As dinner began, Jade's heart pounded. Each question directed her way felt sharper than knives. What did she do for fun? What was her favorite place? The more they prodded, the more she felt backed into a corner, fighting to share her truth without revealing her fears. Just when she thought she might sink beneath the surface, a moment of silence hung in the clamor, and Liam's gaze held hers. "I want you to stay," he mouthed, and in that simple action, she felt a flicker of hope reignite. But no sooner had warmth flooded her heart than Liam's mother's gaze swept over, appraising. "So, Jade, what's your story?" In that moment, Jade's breath caught, and the reality of everything hung in the balance. Whatever she said next could tip the scales one way or the other. Could she be brave enough to share her truth? Jade took a deep breath, the weight of her decision heavier than before. This was her chance to redefine her place in Liam's world, but would the truth be enough to keep them together? As the question loomed, she realized everything would hinge on this moment and the tender bond they fought to protect. Jade felt the room shrink around her, the air thick and charged. "My story." The words were heavy on her tongue, a fragile admission on the brink of shattering. Her stomach twisted as she searched for the right words, each one potentially shrouded in judgment. "Yes, dear," Liam's mother encouraged, her smile dipped in curiosity, yet layered with something more, a challenge. "You know, how you and Liam met." There it was, the quintessential question that would unveil everything she had tucked away. Jade cast a sidelong glance at Liam, drawing strength from the reassuring squeeze of his hand. This was her moment. "We met a few months back at a coffee shop." His family leaned in, keenly interested, the warmth of their attention almost intoxicating. "We hit it off right away," she continued, less stiff now, her voice gaining momentum. "We talked about books, music, life. It was easy." Liam's father chuckled, "Sounds classic." He shot a glance at Liam, a playful nudge aimed right at his son. "So you didn't intimidate her?" "Not at all," Jade countered lightly, the humor loosening the tension. She realized that maybe, just maybe, these people were more than the polished veneers she had feared. "He makes it feel safe to share." Liam beamed at her, his pride inflating like a balloon, but it didn't last long. His mother's eyes held questions beyond the surface, they delved deeper, assessing. "What do your parents think of this connection?" The room felt colder. Jade hesitated. "My parents," her heart sank beneath the weight of unspoken truths. "Would they see her as an outsider?" "They have their views, and what views are those?" Liam's father interjected, not unkind but definitely inquisitive. "They think I should settle for something more practical," she muttered, feeling the wall of vulnerability creep back up. She could sense the tension in the air, like static, waiting for a spark. "Practical?" Liam's mother tilted her head slightly, questioning. "What does that mean for you?" "Just," Jade swallowed hard, "they want me to focus on my career and maybe date someone who fits into their expectations." Liam's hand tightened around hers, grounding her. The noise of their dining room faded, the clatter of forks and plates washed away. "What do you want?" he asked quietly, his gaze pinning her in place. Her nerves flared at the sincerity of his question. "I want to be free to choose who I want to be with. If that happens to be you, then fantastic." The silence that settled was deafening, the kind that holds up a mirror to insecurities. Jade's heart thudded in her chest. It felt like she was perched on the edge of a cliff, ready to plunge into the unknown. Her confession hung in the air, raw and exposed, and she braced herself for a wave of emotions. Liam's mother, the steely warmth in her eyes now softened, seemed to sense the weight behind Jade's words. "Love isn't bound by expectations," she finally said, surprising Jade. "It's about connection. At the end of the day, that's what matters." In that moment, the tension dissipated, leaving a strange warmth in its wake. Hope flickered, alive against all odds. Jade exchanged a glance with Liam, their understanding deepening as she drew courage from his presence. But just as the atmosphere eased, a sharp voice called from the kitchen. Liam! You've got to try the roast. The spell broke abruptly, laughter burst forth again, swirling through the room. But Jade's heart still beat fast. She felt renewed uncertainty. Being embraced by the warmth of Liam's family was thrilling, yet the fear of not completely belonging loomed. Even as the chatter resumed, Jade knew the question was still there, lingering just beneath the surface. Who am I in Liam's world? Would she ever shed the identity tied to her past or the worries encasing her? And as she leaned into Liam, he leaned closer, whispering, "Are you okay?" "I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper as the tumult inside her churned. And for a moment, they were cocooned in their quiet bubble, the noise of the world beyond them fading yet again. This dinner was just the beginning. But the road ahead was uncertain, twisting with unexpected choices waiting to be made. What if she discovered a side of herself she never knew existed? What if this night was merely the start of something much larger? Jade felt a blend of anxiety and hope surge within her. What was she willing to risk for a love that felt so right? Little did they know, the real test of their bond was yet to come. The laughter swirled through the room, filling the spaces between them like bubbles breaking the surface of still water. Jade felt the warmth of Liam's family wrap around her, but there was still that nagging doubt tugging at her heart. Underneath the joy, the edge of her past lingered, casting shadows on what should have felt like black and white happiness. Liam's playful banter about the roast eased her nerves, and she tried to join the easy flow of conversation, but her thoughts spiraled back to her parents, back to the expectations they carried like burdens. "Hey, Jade!" One of Liam's younger siblings piped up, snapping her back into the moment. "You didn't tell us what you do for fun. Do you, have any secret talents?" She chuckled, appreciating the childlike curiosity. "I enjoy painting," she replied, a flicker of pride igniting her voice. "Though I don't know about secret talents. Let us see your work sometime." Liam's sister exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Just then, Jade caught Liam's gaze. His eyes were soft, filled with encouragement, and it gave her the courage to drop that barrier she carried. "Maybe I could show you all sometime. It would be fun." The words slipped out before the self-doubt could crush them, and she found herself smiling wider than she felt inside. "Definitely. I'm sure it's amazing," Liam cheered, and the way he said it lit a small fire in her chest. Maybe she could share more of herself with them, explore this newfound connection. But as quickly as it flickered, the heat of anxiety returned. Could she genuinely fit into this family? The dining room filled with the rich aroma of the roast, and suddenly everyone stood to help clear the table. As the sounds of dishes clattering echoed, Jade found herself alone for a moment, watching the bustle with a sense of displacement. She glanced at the large family photographs adorning the walls. Happier times, celebrations, milestones. Did she belong among them? "Jade," Liam's voice cut through her thoughts as he stepped beside her, gentle yet firm. "What is going on in that pretty head of yours?" She sighed, her shoulders sagging. "Just trying to figure out where I fit here. It feels good, but I can't shake that feeling, you know." He studied her for a moment, the light in his gaze dimming slightly. "You do fit. You've added something special to this family night. My family can be overwhelming, but take your time. It's okay." His words warmed her like a well-timed embrace. "Thanks, Liam. I guess I just have my moments." "You're allowed those moments." He nudged her with a soft laugh, lightening the mood. They were both trying, but even as flutters of hope filled her chest, she understood they were standing on a precipice. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the dining room. "Who's ready for dessert?" The energy shifted again, and Jade's heart quickened with anticipation. Dessert seemed a fitting end to the evening. As she joined the group, she felt a little lighter, those edges of self-doubt softening just a touch. But the question still lingered like autumn fog: would her walls truly crumble? Dessert was served, a delightful assortment laid out. Pie, cake, ice cream, the perfect escape. Laughter bubbled again, and the chatter ranged from silly jokes to heartfelt stories. Everything felt right, but as Jade glanced at each smiling face around her, she felt the weight of hidden truths rising within her. She wanted to dive in, to shed any remaining hesitations, but then, the doorbell rang. A pause fell over the laughter as everyone exchanged curious glances. Who could that be? Liam's mother wondered aloud. The moment stretched thin, a taut wire ready to snap. Jade held her breath. With everything that was unfolding, she had no idea whether joy or chaos awaited them beyond the door. What if this visitor changed everything? What if secrets they had all buried came rushing to the surface? With her heart thudding, she dared to wonder who was about to step into their lives. The door swung open, and an unexpected figure stepped inside. Jade's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the familiar frame, the hesitant smile, the tousled hair. Jess. Jade whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence. A wave of disbelief washed over her. This wasn't just any visitor, it was her childhood friend, the one person from her past who knew the deepest corners of her heart. That a shocked silence enveloped the room as Jess searched the faces around her, her eyes landing on Jade. I hope it's okay I stopped by. Jess's voice was filled with uncertainty, as if expecting rejection. A mix of emotions danced in Jade: joy at the sight of her friend, but a knot of anxiety tightened in her stomach. Of course. Come on in. Liam's mother responded, breaking instinctively into an inviting smile. Unaware of the storm brewing within Jade, Jess stepped further into the living room, joining the family as they welcomed her with open arms. But Jade stood frozen, the joy around her flickering like a candle in a draught. Memories rushed back, the laughter they once shared, secrets whispered late at night. But there were darker shadows too, those unspoken words that made her heart ache. As Jess made small talk with Liam's siblings, Jade felt her mind spin. What was she supposed to say? This wasn't just a casual reunion, it was laden with the weight of their shared past, everything that brought Jade here and everything she had fought to leave behind. Jade, come over here. Liam called, gesturing for her to join them. Jade took a shaky breath and stepped forward, forcing a smile even as her heart raced. Jess's presence was a trigger, pulling her back to memories she had buried for a reason. Hey, Jess, she said, keeping her tone light, attempting to mask the torrent of emotions swirling inside her. Hey. Jess replied brightly, but Jade caught a glimpse of her unease. I didn't realize you were here. It's so great to see you. Yeah, you too. Jade managed to say, though it felt surreal. She casually glanced around to gauge Liam's reaction, but he was genuinely engrossed in the conversation. Despite the laughter of the family, Jade's mind was on edge, the tension thickening like a cloudy sky before a storm. Jess leaned in closer, her voice softening as they exchanged platitudes. I've missed you, Jade. We need to catch up. Jade swallowed hard, wishing she could bury the past and allow for an uncomplicated present. But the unresolved questions loomed like heavy fog. Yeah, we should. The conversation shifted back to dessert, and as pie was served, Jade felt an undercurrent of tension driving her thoughts. Could she truly integrate herself into this family with Jess here? Would the revelations from her past shut the door she so desperately wanted to keep ajar? Time pressed onward as the chaos resumed, laughter spilling over once again, yet Jade stood suspended between two worlds: who she had been with Jess and who she was now with Liam's family. Would she be able to bridge the gap, or would everything come crashing down? As the night progressed, the looming question held her captive: could she withstand the weight of her past and still step forward into this new life she was slowly building? Or would secrets she had buried rise once more to threaten the fragile happiness she had found? The moment felt critical, and as their eyes met briefly across the room, a silent pact seemed to form between Jade and Jess. Something was coming. Jade felt it deep within her bones, an inevitable clash that would shake the foundation of everything she had begun to piece together. She swallowed hard, fear knotting in her stomach. What kind of reckoning lay ahead? The air felt thick with tension as Jade's heart raced, battling the mixed sensations of nostalgia and anxiety. Laughter echoed around her, but the warmth never reached her. She watched Jess chat animatedly with Liam's siblings, the image of her childhood friend a bittersweet reminder of days when life felt simpler. "Jade, come help with the pie." Liam's mom called cheerfully, snapping Jade from her thoughts. She forced herself to join in, taking a seat at the table just as Jess turned to her with a smile that looked slightly out of place. It was the same smile, but it felt weighted with unspoken things. Jade had changed. "Want to try a slice?" Jess asked, offering a piece to Jade. Their fingers brushed, and a jolt of electricity coursed through her. It was brief, but everything about it sent her spiraling back to their teenage years before the secrets, before the distance. "Sure, why not?" Jade smiled, though part of her was still wrestling with fear. She could feel her throat tighten, but she forced the piece into her mouth, the sweetness mingling with an odd bitterness. The laughter around her blended into a distant hum as the world narrowed down to the two of them. "How have you been?" Jess asked, a genuine curiosity laced in her tone. The question hung heavy, begging for an honest answer that Jade wasn't ready to share. "I've been all right, just busy, you know how life can be," Jade replied cautiously, hoping to deflect. But Jess's expression told her she saw right through it. "Life does get busy. I wish we could just go back to how it was." Jess's wistful look struck a chord, a note of longing that resonated deep within Jade. "I don't know if that's possible," Jade said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Too much has changed, Jess." The silence expanded between them, a chasm formed by the weight of their shared history. Jade could see Jess searching for the right words, a familiar discomfort drawing lines across her forehead. And then, almost like a dam bursting, Jess spoke. "I've had my share of struggles too, you know. I thought about you a lot. Things weren't easy for me after everything." Jade's heart clenched. She didn't want to revisit the past, not in front of this new family. She didn't want to drag in the pain and shadow the warmth of the evening with memories of loss. "I get that. We all have our battles." But that didn't feel like enough. The bitterness lingered, the words unspoken coiling between them like a snake ready to strike. Jess's eyes glistened, bearing emotion that felt raw and real. I want us to be okay," Jess said softly, the vulnerability lacing her voice causing Jade to glance away. Jade took a deep breath, feeling the weight of both the past and the present trap her in a tight hold. Could she really allow herself to reconnect while fearing what lay beneath? "Maybe we can start with just being friends again." A flicker of hope crossed Jess's face, but it was quickly overshadowed by uncertainty. "I'd like that. But there's something else, something you need to know about me too." Jade's breath hitched in her throat. Jess seemed to realize the gravity of her statement and hesitated. The room felt like it was closing in, every laugh and chatter fading as she focused on the impending revelation hanging in the air. "Jess, what is it?" Jade urged, her heart racing with unease and anticipation. I didn't come alone," Jess said finally, her voice trembling just slightly. Panic surged within Jade. Who else was there? And what did that mean for the fragile peace she'd begun to muster? The tension escalated, and Jade felt her soul teetering on the brink of chaos. Jess's eyes revealed she had more to say. What was the weight of that hidden truth? What newcomer would stir the already churning waters of her carefully constructed life? Jade could only brace herself for whatever storm was about to break. The tension in the room was palpable, a taut wire ready to snap. Jade could feel her heart pounding, echoing against the backdrop of laughter that began to dissolve into uncertainty. This was meant to be a chance, a moment to connect and lay down roots in a world that felt increasingly distant. But now, Jess's revelation hung like a specter, threatening to unravel everything she had worked to build with Liam. I didn't come alone, Jess repeated, her voice wavering. Jade's breath caught in her throat, dread pooling in her stomach. She dared not blink, awaiting the storm, Jess glanced toward the door, a hint of apprehension flickering in her eyes. I brought someone with me, she started, hesitating long enough to ignite worries within Jade. The room seemed to shift uneasily, the jovial atmosphere dimming. A moment later, a figure stepped through the entrance, and Jade's heart sank. It was Michael, her ex-boyfriend, the one who had left scars deeper than any she'd faced. He entered with an easy smile, greeting everyone with confidence, blissfully unaware of the chaos he was about to ignite. "Hey! I heard there was a celebration." Michael flashed a grin, scanning the room as if to embed himself within the laughter. Liam's family welcomed him with open arms, and Jade felt the ground beneath her shake. Memories rushed back, jumbled emotions mixing like hues on a wheel, and for a brief moment, she could barely breathe. Liam caught her eye, confusion painted across his features. "Jade?" he asked, the warmth in his voice faltering. "You okay?" The world around them faded into a hush. Jess stepped forward, her expression vulnerable. "I didn't want to overwhelm you, but Michael wanted to see you." "Why?" Jade's voice was firm, though the uncertainty clawed at her mind. "Why would you bring him here?" Jess opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out, only silence filled by the tension echoing her unspoken words. Michael approached, a mocking pureness to his tone. "I heard our girl was moving on." He smirked, his gaze finding Jade's. "Glad to see you're in good hands." Jade's heart raced with disbelief, heat flooding her cheeks. "What do you want?" "We're just catching up." He waved the words away, dismissing her pain like it was nothing. "I wanted to let you know how proud I am of you. A waitress with a billionaire boyfriend. Must be nice to have it all." Every word dripped with sarcasm. Liam stepped forward, protective instincts flaring. "You're out of line." "No, no," Jade interjected, anxiety bubbling into determination. "This is my life, Michael. I want to let you come in and twist it like you always did." Jade's voice echoed through the room, raw and electric. Liam's grasp on her hand tightened, reassuring her in a world suddenly turned chaotic. Jade stood taller, drawn by the strength threading through her veins. Deep down, she felt the power to write her own narrative. "Let us go," Michael said, trying to shove the door open. "I didn't come here to revive the past. But you can't avoid it forever." "That's where you're wrong," Jade replied, strength surging from a place she almost forgot. "This is my story now, not yours." Her heart raced as silence enveloped the room, Liam standing resolute beside her. The warmth from his hand shot through her, igniting courage she hadn't realized was hidden inside. Whatever came after tonight would be different. She wouldn't back down to the shadows of her past. Liam turned to her family, a fierce glint in his eye. "Jade deserves love without conditions. That's what I'm offering." The warmth in the room shifted, acceptance swirling into the air with each heartbeat. A wave of understanding swept over Jess and Liam's family, their expressions softening as they took in the resolve blossoming in Jade's eyes. "Love isn't defined by the past, it's built through choices we make every day," he continued. "Together, we can conquer any storm." Tears pricked at the corners of Jade's eyes, joy surging through her as she saw Liam's beliefs intertwine with her own fears. For the first time, everything felt possible. "Are you ready?" Jack's voice broke through the tension, his genuine warmth dissolving any remaining walls. Tears of vulnerability mingled with relief, as Jade nodded. "Yes. I'm ready." With newfound strength, Jade stepped forward, pulling Liam to her side, their connection brighter than any past heartache. In that moment, she felt weightless. Together, they could weather anything together, they were unstoppable. As Michael huffed and awkwardly retreated from the room, the once insurmountable flood of emotions now turned into a resolute determination. Every layer of doubt was peeled away, revealing the truth hidden underneath. She was worthy of love, acceptance, and the right to write her own story. Liam pulled her closer, planting a soft kiss onto her forehead as laughter erupted anew, reminding her they were far from alone. "Look at us," she whispered triumphantly, gazing around at all the smiles and bright eyes. "It's a brand new chapter." As the voices of Liam's family wrapped around her, she understood their hearts now beat together, forging a family made not by blood but by choices, acceptance, loyalty, and an unbreakable bond. Jade felt the weight that once burdened her lift, replaced by a soaring sense of belonging. Together, they could rise above the strife. Together, they would thrive. This was her moment. This was their moment. And as the night carried on, surrounded by love and laughter, Jade embraced her newfound future, determined to create the life of her dreams along with the boy who had shown her that love knows no boundaries. Now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this incredible journey, comment your reactions and feelings about Jade and Liam's transformation, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing story. You need to show your support now. Don't wait not even one more second to share. This is the moment to act and join the community that celebrates love, strength, and unity.